Welcome back to another Pokemon Throwback Thursday, where every Thursday morning we take a deep dive into a new set. We are going in complete order. So the set we are checking out today is Sun and Moon Team Up. And then, of course, we're going to be highlighting a certain Pokemon. We're going to be checking their best cards in Pokemon history. And for today's video, that is going to be Charmander. And we are going to do a little giveaway today. All you have to do is make sure you're subscribed. You got to hit that notification bell. You got to hit that like. And then you have to answer the question of the day. So for today's question, which Pokemon do you think has the coolest name? This is what we're giving away today. A nice Shadowless Charmander in honor of us talking about the Charmander cards. And I do have to announce the winner from last Thursday's giveaway, and that is at Isaac Wanta at the Pokemon Hub. Shoot me an email or hit me up on Instagram. I'll get those cards sent out to you. And we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Platinum Protectors. If you guys need cases for any type of collectible, Platinum Protectors, they got you covered. They got cases for action figures, comic books, diecast, Funko Pops, trading cards, and video games. This is literally all I use for all of my steel products. And I love the cheaper cases too, where you're literally paying a couple dollars a case instead of spending $20, $25 per case. But they do have stuff for Lorcana, One Piece, and they restock constantly, so you don't have to wait that long. And then too, if you click my link in the description, you'll get 10% off your first order of $50 or more. So definitely check them out. I'll have all the links in the description. And then, of course, if you're going to grade through PSA for your very first time, click my link in the description. Use the code BEARD25 and receive $25 off your very first submission, which is basically a free graded card. And I highly recommend grading yourself instead of letting people like GameStop handle your cards. And they did just raise the prices, so getting $25 off is definitely nice. All right, let's jump into it. So we have Sun and Moon Team Up, arguably the best set in Pokemon history. I mean, the booster box alone sells for almost as much as like some original vintage stuff like Fossil and Jungle, which is just crazy. So this set came out January 31st, 2019. This is the set symbol right here. It pays to know these set symbols. It's kind of like a square that's at an angle. The total set value is $8,654. There's 15 secret rares with a total of 357 cards if you count reverse hauls and everything. And of course, this has the Lovebirds, where this thing was $50. And then, it says Raw, $2,700. Then it goes to the Gengar and Mimikyu tag team. I do wish I could see a little bit more in the background on this one. Not my favorite tag team. Still cool, but not my favorite. Raw, $1,200. Even the Magikarp and Wailord Raw, $1,000. And in my opinion, I actually enjoy Cosmic Eclipse a lot more than Team Up, but a lot of people would disagree with me on that one. And then we got, really good Rainbow tag teams too, and the full arts are worth a ton now. These used to be very, very cheap. We got the Gengar and Mimikyu GX tag team Rainbow, $330. We got the full art, $285. Even the non-textured tag team alternate arts are worth a ton, especially this Gengar and Mimikyu Raw, $243. Then, of course, the Rainbow Eevee and Snorlax in the full art, which we've checked the last couple weeks because we went over Eevee and we went over Snorlax. But they're about $220. Got the Rainbow Pikachu and Zekrom at $214, Latias and Latios at $177. Even the trainers in this set are pretty crazy. Sabrina's Suggestion, Erica's Hospitality, Jasmine, Evelyn. All these are worth a good amount. The Sabrina's at $173, Erica's at $120, Jasmine at $68. Even down here, there's more trainers, and they're all worth, $30, $40, $50 at the very least. There is so much value in this set. It's kind of wild. But all right, let's check out some prices. So here's the Sabrina Suggestion. So we got a PSA 10 pop at $680, PSA 9 at $466. We got a PSA 10 sale here at $410, PSA 9 at $138, Raw $140, $160, $175. Next, we have the Rainbow Celebi and Venusaur. Love this card. Has a pop of $418 and a 10, $332 and a 9. Last sold in a 10, $250. Last sold in a 990, Raw $80. And then we have the full art. Same exact art, just one's rainbow, one's a full art. Says a pop of $639 and a 10, $292 and a 9. Last sold in a 10, $168, $210, $202. Raw, $25, $50, $35. And honestly, all these cards have very, very similar pops, so I'm not going to say the pop on every single card. Now we got the Magikarp and Wailord Rainbow. Last sold Raw, $65, $79, $130. We got a PSA 9 at $119. And we do have a PSA 10 sale at $470. Next, the full art. Again, similar pop. Last sold in a 10, $379. Last sold in a 9, $117. And Raw, $90, about $75. And we got the Rainbow and Pikachu Zekrom. Last sold in a 10, $750. Before that was $521. PSA 9 at $149. And Raw, we got $120, $103, $85. Next, the full art. Last sold in a 10, $405, $280 before that, and $390 before that, and Raw, $102, $50, $75, $90, so kind of all over the place. A lot of people are going to be hunting for PSA 10s. Next, we have the Eevee and Snorlax GX Rainbow. This has a PSA 10 sale at $750 and $620, And then raw, 180, 240. We got a PSA 9 at 230. And here's the full art for the Eevee and Snorlax. Last sold in at 10, 500, 388, and 499. We got a PSA 9 at 225, and then raw. Looks like we got one at 283, 110, 72, so kind of all over the place. Next, here is that Gengar and Mimikyu GX Tag Team Alternate Art, the non-textured one. So this was down to $1,000, went up to $1,200, kind of leveling out now. Last sold $1,285, $1,100, $1,272. Then we got a PSA 9 at 315 and raw 199, 300, 239. And I do apologize, I am pretty sick, so I'm sure my voice sounds terrible. Now this card, the Gengar and Mimikyu non-textured alternate art, actually has a pretty high pop, 2100 in a 10, 2600 in a 9. Much easier to pull than the other cards, so there's just a lot more. Next, we have the full art. This has a pop of 1260 in a 10, 701 in a 9. This was all the way at $1,300. Dropped down to about $828, and now last sold $878, $1,000, $821, PSA 9 at $325, and raw looks like $150 to about $225, which is crazy for a full art. Next, we have the rainbow. It's a pop of 848 in a 10, 831 in a 9 for the Gengar and Mimikyu. This is at $1,100. Now last sold $836, $1,050, $1,076. PSA 9 at 384 and raw 330, 355, 315. Next, the Magikarp and Wailord. This card is going crazy. It was at $1,800 in a 10, which is still insane in my opinion. Now last sold $3,000, $2,900, $2,750. We got a PSA 9 at $1,250. Raw $400, $680, $495, $685. This has a pop of $1,900 in a 10, $1,000 in a 9. Next, we have the Gengar and Mimikyu Tag Team Alternate Art. This one is the textured one. This is a pop of $1,900 in a 10, $1,200 in a 9. And this got down to about $3,300 in a 10. Now last sold $39, $3,850. We got a PSA 9 at $1,500. Another one at $1,100. Raw, we got $790, $700, $750, $650. A couple of low ones, but they're going to be damaged. Next, the Love Dragons. This is a pop of $2,200 in a 10, $1,600 in an 8. So not actually super tough to grade. There's just not a ton of them, especially for how many people want that card. Last sold raw, $2,400, $2,500, $2,100, $2,225. We got a PSA 9 at $31, another one at $31, and we got a PSA 10 at $10,500. The sale before that was at $92. All right, next, we are checking out some steel products. So here is a Team Up Sleeve Booster Pack. This thing is just insane. I mean, you can get one shipped right now for $300. We got a sale at $299, $319, $344. Like, I even got some right here. The last time I bought these were like $45 a sleeve booster. So even when a set seems expensive, like $45 for a sleeve booster, trust me, it can get a lot more expensive. So, I got a ton of those. Next, we have one of the tag team tins. So back in the day, the original run of this, they actually had team up packs inside, and those tins are worth a lot more. We got a sale here at $950. Before that, $599 and $600 for the Pikachu and Zekrom, and there's a few different kinds. Next, we have the actual ETB. Last sold, small tear, $2,600. We got another one here. Doesn't say anything about a tear at $2,684. But then this one says clean, no tears. And this one sold for $3,900. So that right there is the difference between a tear and a perfect box. Which is why I'm so obsessed with getting perfect boxes. I know right now, a modern box, if it's got a small dent in it, people don't really care that much. It's not worth that much less. But when they get really, really expensive, that's when it really, really makes a difference. Because we're talking almost a $1,500 difference just because of a couple of holes or a dent or anything like that. So definitely keep your stuff nice and always try to get nice stuff. Next, we have the Team Up Booster Box. Last sold, listed at $10,000 and sold for $6,400. Says new, sealed in a case. We got another sale here at $9K, $8,700, $91. This one's the Spanish one, sold for $36. Another one at $95. We got the Tag Bolt Japanese, so kind of the Japanese version, sold for $12.92. Another one at $1,600. Ooh, we got a Team Up sleeved case. 144 sleeve booster packs, sold for $42,000. We are jumping to Charmander here. We're going to look at some of the cheaper cards, kind of appreciate some of these arts. He's got a lot of common cards and stuff, so we got the new Charmander from Phantasmal Flames. I'm trying to give some of these artists a shout out too. I'm a big fan of the Charmander from Paldean Fates too. This is done by Ghidorah. Super cool. The Obsidian Flames one is sick, done by Dom. What else do we got? The Pokemon Go one. Not the biggest fan of like the cartoony ones. I love the Burning Shadows one where Charmander's like basically crying in the rain. You know, throwback to the actual anime. That's from Burning Shadows, and that I cannot read the name on that artist. And then, of course, Evolutions. We're going to be checking all the Charmander reprints down below. Before we do that, let me know your guesses down below how many times we have gotten a reprint of the Charmander from base set. Because I pretty much added everyone to this list, and it's kind of funny to see how many we have. All right, we got the Detective Pikachu one. It's kind of a unique one. And they did it for the 25th anniversary also for McDonald's. You can get the GameStop promo done by the Ghidorah guy. Nice level 8 Charmander from Secret Wonders. Ooh, the Charmander from Fire Red and Leaf Green. Adorable. We're going to be checking out the holo of that today. All right. And then, of course, the Dragon Majesty Charmander. Probably one of the best Charmanders we've ever gotten. It's just him looking back with a little smile, covering up with that big leaf. It is adorable. All right. Now let's check out some new stuff. So here's the brand new Charmander that we are getting for the 30th anniversary. I've already heard people complain about these cards, in my opinion. I think they're crazy, especially because we've already got 2 really nice scene illustration rare cards for a Charmander. And, you know, same with the Bulbasaur and the Squirtle. You know, we don't need another scene card of them like out in the forest or whatever. This is kind of cool. And the detail is wild. I mean, look at the Bulbasaur right here. Look at the big chunky Pikachu in the background. That's a throwback to the original base set Pikachu. Like, that is just the coolest thing ever. Every one of these cards has crazy detail in it. So that will be our newest Charmander card. All right, let's get into it. We got the Mega Charizard X. This does have a Charmander down below, and of course the Charmeleon Charizard and the Mega Charizard. So that is super, super cool. But of course, this card is very expensive. Last sold $660, $850, $680, $640, $750, $572. You know, it just came out. Next, we have the Charmander from 151, and this card just keeps going up and down, up and down. This is a pop of 8,400 in a 10, 17,000 in a 9, 5,700 in an 8. These 151 illustration rares, even the special illustration rares, are actually very tough to grade. This got up to 415 in a 10, dropped down to 304. Going up again right now, last sold 390. And we got another PSA 10 sale here at 398. And then PSA 9, 67, 70, around there. Next, we have the Charmander promo from the Obsidian Flames ETB. This is just a regular one. This is a pop of 10,430 in a 10, 19,000 in a 9, 7,600 in an 8. This card got all the way up to $425 in a 10, dropped down to $275. Now last sold $335 and $350. And raw, this card just keeps going up. 44, 35, 40, 43. We've got one at 50, and this is the exact reason why the 151 Snorlax ETB promo sitting at $15 is a steal. And of course, we have the Pokemon Center promo. This is a pop of 660 in a 10, 3,200 in a 9, 2,400 in an 8. Last sold in a 10, $2,500. We got a PSA 9 at 190, 250, 195 raw, 175, 209, 120. Next, we have the Charmander from Paldean Fates. This is the Baby Shiny. This was at 210 in a 10. Coming down right now, we got a sale at 115 and raw. It's like a $15 to $25 card. This is a pop of 1,600 in a 10, 1,400 in a 9. Next, we have the Baby Shiny from Hidden Fates. I think this one is much better. This one has a pop of 6,200 in a 10, 4,400 in a 9. Got down to 60 and up a little bit. Now that sold 67, 99, and 80. And this is a $15 raw card. Next, we have the Charmander GameStop promo. This card is actually worth a decent amount in a 10. We got a PSA 10 at 143, 167, and raw 55, 44, 43. I do think this card will keep coming down in price, though. Next, we have one of the coolest Charmanders on the list. We have the Delta Species Crystal Guardians Reverse Holo. It has a pop of 22 in a 10, 127 in a 9. And we do have a PSA 10 sale from about 6 months ago at $1,827. Raw, 53, 24, 35, 40. Next, we have another Delta Species Charmander. This is the Pop Series 5. Yeah, we basically have like no recent sales for this card in the PSA 10. Raw, we got like $25. Next, we have the Crystal Guardians Charmander Reverse Holo. Not a Delta Species, but still a very cool card. Has a pop of 63 and a 10. The last sale I could find was $760, which was a while ago. Raw, 22, 20, 43, 30. Next, we have the Charmander Reverse Holo from Platinum Arceus. This is one that says level 13 at the top. This has no information in a PSA 10 at all. And raw, it's about a $15 card if you want it somewhat clean. Next, we have the Fire Red and Leaf Green Charmanders. There's 3 different kinds. We got this one right here. And we have the Secret Rare right here. All very cool. First one here, number 58. No recent PSA 10 sales. Says on eBay $425. This is a pop of 19. So it'd be worth a lot more probably. Last sold raw, 20, 25. We got a PSA 9 at $75. Next, we have the other reverse holo, and I like these reverse holos when they have all of like the typing stuff in the background. That's super cool. Last sold raw, 50, 75, 70. We got a PSA 9 at 152, and it says the most recent PSA 10 sales 406. Again, they're just such low pops, they rarely sell. Next, we have the Secret Rare. This is just a regular holo. This is a pop of 114 and a 10, 474 and a 9. Last sold in a 10, 1300. Last sold in a 9, 125. And raw, looks like it's about $50 to about $85. Next, we have the EX Power Keepers Charmander Reverse Holo. Super cool, unique art. Really cartoony, but it is very, very sweet. Last sold raw 30, 25, 21. PSA 9 at 82. And, the last PSA 10 sale says 125, which was a super long time ago. Next, we have the Build-A-Bear Charmander. Super cool art. Again, not a ton of info in a 10. These cards just have such low pops, and they're kind of just random, so not a lot of info out there. But last sold raw 35, 25, 27 for somewhat clean condition. And it does say the last PSA 10 sale is $300. Next, one of the best Charmanders on the list. This is the Radiant Collection from Generations. It does have a Charmeleon and a Charizard that go with it. They're super, super cool. Last sold in a PSA 10, it says 200, has a pop of 42. Raw, it's like a $10 or $15 card, very affordable. Next, we have the Ditto Charmander from EX Delta Species. This is a reverse holo with a pop of 23 and a 10. Last sold raw 50, 105, 45. And a lot of these, they're not going to be super clean. This card's very, very tough to find in actually good condition, especially the reverse holo with the stamp. We do have a new PSA 10 sale at $1,600, and before it was at $475, which was 5 months before that. These cards, like I said, rarely sell. Next, we have some e-reader cards. We have the Charmander from Expedition. We got a pretty new sale here at $400. Not bad, because last sold raw 80. We got a PSA 9 at 125. This is a pop of 28 in a 10, 91 in a 9, so only having 28 in a 10 and sold for $400. Not too shabby. Next, probably my favorite e-reader of all 3, we have the Charmander from Expedition. This is a reverse holo. This is a pop of 43 and a 10, 113 and a 9. Last sold raw 70, 80, 75. We got a PSA 10 at 281. And before that says 162, but those are pretty old. Next, we have the Charmander Secret Rare from EX Dragon. This is a pop of 119 and a 10, 351 and a 9. Last sold in a 10, $1,800, which was literally a few days ago. And raw 150, 142, 99, 105. And the PSA 10 before that was at $1,450. And we got a 9 at 580 and 325. Next, we're going old school. We got the Team Rocket First Edition Charmander. This one was never my favorite, but I like how it is pretty unique. Now, there is an unlimited version. Anytime there's a first edition, there's also an unlimited when we're talking with English. Not necessarily with Japanese, but this is a pop of 2,000 in a 10, 3,800 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, $180. And raw, it's literally a $5 card. Next, we have the Blaine's Charmander. This is from Gym Heroes, also the first edition, with a pop of 254 in a 10, 661 in a 9. And last sold in a 10, 213, 200 before that. And it's like a $15 raw card. Next, the other Blaine's Charmander from Gym Challenge. It's a pop of 250 in a 10, 387 in a 9. Last sold raw, about $10. We got a PSA 9 of 43, and the last PSA 10 sale is $250. All right, it is time for all of the reprints of the base set Charmander. So like I said, put your guesses down below on how many you think there's going to be. So we got the new Trading Card Game Classic Charmander. Pretty cool card. I really like the holo on it. Last sold in a PSA 9 at 30. We got raw at $10, and it says a PSA 10 sold for $61. Next, we have the Charmander Reverse Holo from XY Evolutions. This is a pop of 753 in a 10, 2,800 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, $81. And this card, again, very affordable, couple dollar card. Next, we have the Charmander Toys R Us promo. Looks like the last sale on eBay was about $1,450. We got a PSA 9 at $150 and raw $92, $93, $55, $112. Next, probably one of my all-time favorite reprints of the Charmander base set because it actually made it look a little bit different. This is the secret rare from Stormfront. Love this card. This is a pop of 20 and a 10, 206 and a 9. Last sold raw 50, 60, 65, PSA 9 at 275, and the last sale on a 10 is $2,700. Remember, this is a secret rare. That's why it's so expensive. Next, we have the Legendary Collection Charmander. This isn't the reverse holo. You can also get this in non-holo. Last sold raw, couple dollar card. We got a PSA 10 sale at 100 with a pop of 144. Now here is the reverse holo big boy. Last sold in a 10, $3,755 with a pop of 35. And in a 9, only has a pop of 244 with last sale at 1,200. And raw, 250, 465, 476, 180. This card used to be $20. Next, we have the base set 2 Charmander. This is a pop of 331 and a 10, 648 and a 9. Last sold in a 10, $112. And again, couple dollar card. Next, we have the unlimited base set. This is a pop of 3,600 and a 10, 6,800 and a 9. Last sold in a 10, $190. And this is also a couple dollar card. Now we got the Shadowless Charmander getting a little bit better. This is a pop of 1,400 in a 10, 3,500 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, 338. Last sold in a 9, 86. And raw, still about a $5 or $10 card. Next, we have the first edition base set Charmander. Love this card. This is a pop of 976 in a 10, 2,000 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, 20, 450. And we got a 9 sale at 455. Last sold raw, 86, 44, 51. That's for heavily played. It's definitely going to be closer to like $100 if you actually want this card, you know, somewhat clean. But all right, that was all we got for English. Now we got a few Japanese exclusives. So we did get this art in English, but this is the 151 Japanese Master Ball. We did not get the Master Ball. Last sold in a 10, $51. And raw, it's about a $25 card. Next, we have a DPP promo. I think this is a Poke Park promo, if I'm not mistaken. This has a PSA 10 pop of 35 and a 10, 130 and a 9. Last sale in a 10, it says 876, which was a while ago. And raw, 42, 50, 60, 65. Very affordable. Next, we have a black and white promo. I could not find this card for English. I think it's a Japanese exclusive. Last sold raw, 30, 30, PSA 9 at 60. And it says we got a PSA 10 here at $61. Next, one of the coolest cards on the list. And I love these old school Japanese McDonald's cards. They blow anything that we get out of the water now for anything from McDonald's. This is a pop of 1,300 in a 10, 784 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, 2555, 2550, 2300, 2200, 1925. So it just keeps going up. And we got raw 280. Not a lot of raw sales for this card. PSA 9, 850, 635, 760. And last on the list, in my opinion, this is the best card in the entire list. And that is the Festa XY Pikachu. This is the one that has Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Pikachu all in the same card. It says a pop of 1,228 in a 10, 170 in a 9. And last sold in a 10, we got one super low sale here at $7,800. It says PSA 10 Pikachu Holo 20th Anniversary Festa. Number 279. The sale before that from Z&G looks like it's the same exact card, sold for $26,500. And then we got a PSA 9 at $12,900 before that, $12,300 before that, and then it goes back to $20,000 for a PSA 10. So this new $7,800 sale is very, very strange. But yeah, honestly, this card is crazy. And, you know, it's got the 20th anniversary on there. It's just perfect, in my opinion. But all right, that was this week's Pokemon Throwback Thursday. If you guys want to stay ahead of the market and actually know more than basically 90% of the people in the hobby, then definitely make sure you guys keep watching my Throwback Thursdays and make sure you guys, you know, hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, leave a comment, all that. You guys know what to do. And of course, if you guys want to support more, you guys can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook. Mrs. PokeBeard just started a TikTok. So you guys can go follow me on all that. I would really appreciate that. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you guys want to watch my last Pokemon What If Wednesday, which was a shorter one, but still very, very good, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.